You say at all. They're just kind of like, hey, the guy's cool. He served his time. Let him be. And it's like, this guy's obviously a danger to everybody.
That was something I wondered about from the trailer, because where he's talking to them, he's going like, I need to see the footage of this guy who I know killed my family. Wait, that's me. And they look at him like, yeah. All right, now get out of here. Like, wait, shouldn't they like bum rush him and lock him back up again at that point?
Well, yeah, that's the biggest problem, is that a lot of the stuff going on here, people are just, once you go in retrospect of what you know after the twist, you're like, well, then no one would actually do those things. And for that matter, what the hell is the deal with you? When you take that whole goth kid scene in perspective of everything else, it makes absolutely no sense at all.
No.
It's like, what?
Once I thought that this movie couldn't get any dumber, they introduced like a fifth element to it, which is
Bruce Willis? No, it's love.
It's love.
The fifth element is love, which they do introduce in here to a silly extent. But no, it turns into a ghost story. Yeah. And I'm like, man, that in the ghost story that they have in here doesn't make any sense in context to anything else that this movie had done.
If I feel like if they had kept it like what was that John Cusack movie where it was like where he had multiple personalities?
Oh, golly, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but it was one of those things that, yes, ultimately it was this guy trying to fix things in his own brain. And if this movie had kept to that, I would have gone, oh, actually, okay, I kind of see that. That's kind of cool. But no, it had to go, but the ghosts have to fight back. It's some ghost badassery going on.
Yeah, they might as well just brought Casper out in this shit.
Seriously.
It's like, it's just ridiculous.
Don't hurt him. He's my friend.
It would have been funny had they had like Daniel Craig jump out his shoes. Ghost, because it's dumb. Cyrus, you and I were talking before, like how
I'm just picturing that. His eyes bugging out of his head.
Jump through a window and shit. Yeah,
man, acting like Shaggy.
Yeah, they might as well have brought in a talking dog to help them solve this fucking mystery. There's a
Daniel Craig.
I just think those fast moving legs with that stupid sound effect that go nowhere.
No, he takes off running and his clothes follow a second later.
I'm getting out of here.
Wow, this movie sounds like a winner. I can't wait to see it.
I know you guys got the right idea though.
I think those God kids were like
with Casper and Scooby Doo.
Oh yeah, no, I think those God kids were like the mystery crew.
You might as well throw in Boo Berry while you're at it.
I know.
Daniel Craig ensemble cast.
Yeah, Daniel Craig is grabbing that kid and is like, "What are you doing in my basement?" Like, "Hey man, you didn't hear about the deaths here? Scoop, tell him, man, get James Bond off me." It could have, you know what? It could have been a Scooby Doo mystery guest starring James Bond.
Here's another thing I didn't even think about until I was like scanning like what was going on online and some of the contention about this after the fact. But like, all right, so this guy's supposed to be an ex-professional editor, and he's like, God, how am I going to find out information about these murders? And he's like trying everything except the internet, which apparently just doesn't exist in this world at all.
No, it doesn't. You're right about it. It does not. But you know what? I can excuse that given to what they reveal in the movie later. Knowing what is involved with the twist. But it is funny how he is like a guy who you learn that he's a guy that's worked for a big publishing company, is writing a novel, and the only thing that he does to like figure out what this mystery is about is harassing the cops. Come on, man. Yeah, damn, man. Y'all know something now. Come on. They're like, sir, you're going about your day. Hey, fuck y'all, man. Y'all ain't the police, man. Whatever. Fuck the police,
Fuck the
man.
police.
Yeah. Shit, donut eating motherfuckers. Get out of here. Okay, sorry. But we were talking earlier about how some of this stuff that doesn't make sense is because they tested this in front of like a test screening audience. And the people who screened it before, the audience that they had, just railed against this film. They hated how it ended, and they went and like reshot, re-edited, and tacked on something that just didn't make sense. And it feels like that forget the twist. The real twist is the shit that happens at the very end that doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, it makes sense, but it's the ending that's put on there that is, once you know what happens. I mean, if you don't know the story, it does feel like, man, they didn't really have an idea how to end this, and they just put something on there to have like mass appeal.
Yeah, well, it was one of those like, okay, well, the audiences obviously like this main character a lot, and we can't go with the darker version, which actually would make more sense, you would think. So we'll just go, you know what? There's some characters we barely used here. We'll just throw them in and come up with this really contrived explanation as to how, you know, what the answer is, so we can all feel warm and cuddly at the end.
All right, now the director Jim Sheridan has taken a big hit from the critics on this. Like, how could he do this? And what happened to this guy? Did he forget how to make movies? But Cyrus, you're saying like it's not his fault. The studio took it away from him?
Who knows?
Okay.
I'm not privy to watching what the rushes were like before it got changed, and it did, in fact, get taken away from him at some point. But I have no idea to what degree. I mean, like I said, the studio was saying it wasn't testing well, so apparently it wasn't that great of a movie before that. But the thing I'll say for Sheridan is he is so good at working with actors, and I don't think that he's any lesser for that in this film.
I wouldn't blame him for it myself. And it's funny because you read a lot about this movie and all the bad word of mouth it's getting, all the bad reviews. He seems to be the one where they say, this guy is out of his league here. He doesn't know how to direct a thriller or a horror movie. And yet you read about this one screenwriter attached to this guy named David Luca, I think is how you say his name. And
he lives on the second floor.
Yeah. And nobody's blaming this guy for anything. It's just kind of like, you know, this was a screenplay that had potential. And it's just, to me, it's like, well, fuck, you know, the problems with this started with the writing.
Yeah,
that's what sucks about being a director. I don't think I've ever read or been in read or heard of a situation where the writing can be complete shit, yet the writers are almost immune to any kind of backlash. It's the director, because the director is in charge.
I was hearing a story just the other day from a screenwriter who was saying, okay, I'm not going to say this film, but we were writing this movie and we're pretty much done, and all the pieces were in place, and we had even started pre-production filming when we got a note from an executive that one of those notes you're not allowed to ignore it say, this needs to have a parrot in it somewhere that farts and does it all the time, and like, what? And so we had to go back and rewrite the entire first third of this film because there was an executive who apparently thought it would be funny to have a farting
You know
parrot
what?
in a movie.
And that's what this sounds like. Yeah. Even that sounds funny.
I know. I was about to say this movie sounds like it needs a farting parrot, a farting ghost or something. I don't know.
This movie would have been helped by that.
It's a ghost.
He's not so bad.
But maybe
This is crazy.
maybe it's one of those things like that scene with the goth kids. Once again, I keep coming back to that. It's so weird. And they pointedly show two of the actors of the goth kids. One of them, the male kid, looked familiar. I was like, I feel like I've seen him somewhere. It's like, oh yeah, probably because he's the nephew of some executive.
Probably
it's like,
so.
I need you to add a scene to put this kid in here.
No, they're trying to bring in that Hot Topic crowd. That's all they're trying to do. I see it.
You're right. This is a situation where it seems like nobody who's involved in the director or the screenwriter's place should be really blamed. It just seemed like a studio film gone wrong. I mean, yeah, you know, screenwriters usually don't get enough credit, but this is one situation where they could just kind of like lay low while Jim Sheridan's taking a hit. You know, the screenwriter just hiding behind a wall, creeping away. Don't fuck with me. But no, it's a studio film that just tested badly. They didn't know what to do with it. It went wrong. They thought they had all the right ingredients with a beginning good script. They had all the right people in it, you know, big names, but it's just none of it works together. I don't know at what point it went wrong, but none of these things fit. Forget about the twist. Yeah, I mean, you know, fucking if this was Citizen Kane, goddamn Orson Welles would hit the trailer would have been him just you looking at the screen talking about Rosebud as a sled. You know what I mean?
Oh great, I haven't seen it. Thanks.
Spoiler alert.
You know, a lot of people are blaming the movie for that, and it's not the big blame for that. You know, it's just that this film is a mess and only works probably at the beginning. It only works minimally at the beginning. And, you know, when I was watching it and laughing so hard at the end, I was like, man, I could just as easily give this some bullshit. But I enjoyed that first like hour. I mean, that's like that first hour is a movie to me that, you know, since it's not a whole film, you know,
so it wasn't a sinking turd.
No, it was not. No, that first 45 minutes to an hour as a short film is worth saying it's a rental.
It's funny that I don't think this is a terrible film. I think it is, like I said, it feels fractured. It feels like there are too many people working on it. It felt like not everybody was talking to each other. And whenever you have a film that's trying to build a really complex series of layers of reality, you need to make sure everyone is on the exact same page. You know, you can't make a Jacob's Ladder without making sure that every scene makes sense in the continuity of what is being revealed later. And this fucks that up on so many ways. And so many different times. On the other hand, like I said, I thought Sheridan does a great job directing these actors who are already great actors, wonderful to watch. It's a shame Naomi Watts isn't in it more. You're kind of like, why are you even here, Naomi Watts?
Yeah.
Did you really just want to work with Sheridan that bad?
She was wasted, wasn't
Yeah,
she?
she's like, you're like, this is a great actress. And yeah, she's barely in the movie, all things considered. But yeah, there's no denying the fact that it really falls apart towards the end. There's so many WTF moments, and I almost feel like I would be more forgiving if that twist in the middle had actually been a gut punch, you know, because it would have been if we weren't told flat out ahead of time, oh, by the way, this is the twist. If it was like, oh man, that's fucked up.
You would have seen it coming anyway.
Maybe,
though.
maybe not. You know, I'm kind of dumb. So
No. Get out of here. You would have seen it coming before I would. No, I'm the dumb one, man. I'm the one that I don't see twists that much, you know.
yeah, you're right. But like,
Hey, wait a minute.
I know. See how I trapped you into that one?
See, I told you I don't see twists coming.
But yeah, I actually give this a high rental. I do think it's actually worth seeing, but see it with lowered expectations.
Yeah. You know, and a lot of people are saying that, and I'm surprised nobody brought this up. A lot of people saying that Jim Sheridan does not know how to direct horror movies, and he does. He's directed a very horrifying movie that I've seen one time that he did. And don't any of y'all remember Get Rich or Die Trying?
Oh, geez,
50
that
Cent.
was
I mean,
frightening.
goddamn, seeing 50 Cent try to act, that's about as terrified as you can get.
The horror was in that theater, just being trapped in
Yeah.
watching it.
Hey, Leon, my name is.
Oh, that's what mumblecore is.
Whenever you're trapped in a theater with black people, that's usually a horror film sometimes, if you're Cyrus.
I don't understand what he's saying.
You lived in this institution for 5 years, Peter.
No. We released you 7 days ago.
Oh, I hate it when you leave. Look.
They told me that you're not really here.
What?
You and the girls are dead. Did I do it?
No. What do you remember?
I left my wife and my family at home this morning.
Who's at the door?
There's something wrong with this house.
You can't stay there. It's gonna kill you.
Peter Ward's back!
Once upon a time, there were 2 little girls who lived in a house.